Hey, we're here for week 2 with Brave Generation Academy on the City as a School podcast. We're exploring how to implement AI co-pilots to support career discovery, self-directed learning, and project-based learning at Brave Generation Academy. I'm here with Tiago Alfonso, a learning coach at one of the learning hubs at Brave Generation Academy. Last week, we talked about what Brave Generation Academy is, what learning coaches are. If you want to go and discover what that's all about, then go check the previous episode. But this episode, we're pushing on to look at project-based learning. I'm joined by Tiago Alfonso. How are you doing, man?
Hi, hi, Serge. Yeah, I'm good. I hope you're good too. And let's get this done.
Yeah, we're really excited to share a little bit more about ARK and how it's going at Brave Generation Academy. Last week, we looked at learning pathways. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about how to scope projects and actually scaffold learning after they've explored what they want to become. How do they build a concrete thing that they can share with someone, right? But before we get into that, you've been doing something really cool in your Microsoft SharePoint. Do you want to show
Correct.
us what you've been building with the other
Yes,
coaches?
exactly. So basically, we always talk with them about sharing their own learnings and also explore. So we might as well lead by example. So basically, what we've been trying to concentrate the information in just one place so they can easily access everything. And what we did here is to have to our hub a little bit of the information and all the things available, as I said, in one point, and then make available a menu where they can access everything about us. So here we'll have a connection to directly to ARC and a quick explanation on how to address all the pillars that we work. So knowledge, skills, and community with example. So we highlight how to get there, and we'll have additional information that we'll share with them so they can easily use. And if they need to use our how to do it, besides our help, of course.
Nice. And so any of the learning coaches could go ahead and do this, right? Like all the learning coaches are learning, all the hub managers as well, I guess, are learning how to set up these SharePoints. What advice would you give them for setting up these new pages? Is there anything that you found which is kind of tricky or best practice?
Well, we're like a very, very good connected network. So, which means that as we focus also on the key development areas with our learners about peer-to-peer learning, we also do that, which means that every knowledge that we have, we share between us, which means that any new any new approach that we have, we can immediately learn from each other and implement it. So ARC is also present in this past few months, and we've been sharing with our learners, and they're excited to use it. So it will be really easy to implement this. It's just talk to each other and then make it work.
Nice. So if you're a learning coach or at one of the learning hubs, reach out to Tiago about how to set these up. He can coach you through it and do some peer learning with you. Awesome. And there's a very specific feature which we want to demo today. In later weeks, we'll probably look at the I don't understand command and also some other features that we've been building in ARC. But for today, we want to try and scope a project based on a learner's idea that they've had after discovering some interest or passion that they've been talking to you about. So I'm just going to share my screen and pull up the example that we wrote together. So you were talking about a learner. Give us the backstory. Like, what was this learner interested in, and how did the interaction happen between you two, and how did you arrive at this project to do together?
In BTA, as we mentioned in the previous episode, we have three pillars: so knowledge, skills, and community. And in the skills and community, we facilitate exploration, which means that we try to scope their interests, and we empower them to research about their own interests, to have a plan to deepen their understanding, and we also empower them to, after understanding or learning, teach it. So that's why this project, as we were discussing, one learner, when we were having one of our meetings, expressed an interest about programming. And because their understanding about programming is about the user experience that they have, whether it's browsing or scrolling or gaming, I empower him to do a research. So to establish a plan for his research, and after the research is complete, to do a presentation. So he can also develop not only the skill of learning, but also the skill of framing the knowledge that he acquired, and then developing the skill to present it to other learners that might be interested then in doing their own research and explore. That's why I took this example for us to have this overview on how to do it on our.
Amazing. So this learner is going to be presenting what they find at the end. There's actually going to be a deliverable, and we could call this a project, right? So to create any project in ARK, you just need three things. You need the project or problem description. So if they're solving a problem, they can also put the problem statement in. But for this example, we've written this project description of a programming project to research the fundamentals of programming, what it is, what languages there are, and why it's useful. And the final deliverable is a presentation that I'll deliver to my peers. You also need to declare which type of project this is. So it's a research project and a presentation. And it's also, ARK allows you to also give requirements or specific features that must be in the project. And you guys use Microsoft PowerPoint, not Google Slides. So you can add those specific details in this field here. And so what we're going to do is just going to pull this over to our hypothetical learner here, Alex, and start putting this stuff in. So in ARK, you go to the portfolio page, click the plus button, and type in the description. I'm just going to copy and paste it from here. Our example, click continue. I want the project type, which is a research project, and it's a presentation. And then put in the final features and requirements. We're still building the functionality for this little button, but this will actually generate the final features or must-have requirements for your project if you don't know what they are. So this will actually help you like come up with what the end project must have. And you can obviously delete what's in there if it doesn't make sense, but it's just to get you started if you actually don't know what the end product might look like. But we have a clear sense of what the end product might look like. I'm going to put in some times. It's going to start next Monday, and the presentation has to be done by Friday. And click generate. And ARK is going to create the scaffold for this project by giving me the first 10 to-dos, which will help me step through the project and complete it. And Tiago, what's your experience been as you get these to-dos ready with learners? Like, how does that help you as a coach?
So this was an ongoing discussion between us when we were getting to know a little bit of what ARK could offer to us. So one of the most important things when it comes to goal setting is to understand what it means to develop a project and how we can be accountable, especially when we're trying to develop this self-directed learning in our learners at PGA. So we need to understand that the goal setting requires a plan, and that plan can have multiple steps to reach that goal. That allows us to be accountable to ourselves and to understand exactly what's the direction, and besides the direction, what are the deadlines for every milestone. Allow us to not only have them being accountable to themselves, but also when we have our meetings to review if all the milestones are being met at the right time. So if they are not met, we understand immediately what are the steps that weren't met. We can reflect on the reasons why they weren't met and adjust the process to make sure that they can still meet their end goal with just a small adjustment as we go.
Yeah. And breaking it down into these micro steps really gives you that level of accountability and shared reality between the coach and the learner, right? Where we have the start and the end seem to be correct here. So researching the basics of programming, that's a clear step. And then deliver the presentation to my peers. That seems like the correct end step. But maybe you guys want to change what happens in the middle. You know, maybe you don't want to craft a compelling narrative. You just need to change some of the details in here. And you can basically go in and edit that, click save, change the priority, adjust deadlines with each other and talk about when certain things should happen. Is it high priority, low priority? So that gives you the scaffold of the project. And also ARK will generate the first paragraph of this portfolio piece as we build and grow, we'll be basically making this a rich editor. So you can add images, code, video, and this will be like a note that the learner has, which they can share with employers or collaborators, their parents, the teachers, and say, hey, like, here's the final thing that I did. And ARK's gone and generated the introduction saying, for this project, I did this research, I explored programming, just the first paragraph to get them started on this. How do I talk about what I've done process, right?
Yes.
So you can always add more tasks. That's up to you. You can always go back and manage your tasks. So back here, I can see tasks from other projects. I'll go to another project, building a full-size basketball court. Here's some more to-dos, which my coach can keep me accountable to. But back here in my projects, this is essentially a note, and I can click next, add some skills hashtags for what's involved with this, click save and publish. And this will be shareable in the future as part of your learner's portfolio. So I'm going to come back to this page here, Tiago. So once you've got this list of to-dos, what does the process normally look like between you and a learner? What might you say to this learner after you've received these to-dos?
The one important feature that ARK has when it develops the project is, as you can see, there is a description for every step. That is really important to, once you do the breakdown, you make sure that the learner understands what he has. Understanding completely every part of the role is really important for a learner, because we're talking about some concepts that the learner might not be fully aware or understanding exactly why he needs to take that step. So offering them immediately a deep understanding of what's that small step that he needs makes them more motivated to not just give in to the frustration that sometimes comes with having to do something that we don't really understand or somehow we don't find the answer. So here it's a comprehensive approach to every small step, which means that they will not only understand what to do, but why they are. So that makes the conversation flowing easily to also go through, okay, what's more relevant, what you will learn from step 1, 2, 3, 4. And then setting up, as you said before, setting up a deadline to try to understand during our sprint if they can meet all the steps, which means that when we talk about sprints, we have time frame for all the goals that we usually establish in every pillar. This having a project with the right deadlines offer us the right time frame to understand if the execution of the project follows our SMART goal set. Why is ARC so perfect for us? Because when we have to plan the goals for each sprint, we have a space where we usually set up the plan to achieve that goal. ARC is giving us the roadmap for that. So basically, all we have to do is just collect the information that we have here and transpose it to our work tool. And from that moment on, everyone's life is easier, both for the learner and for us.
And two things that were important there was this extra detail at the to-do level, right? These sub points. That was something that we only figured out by working with Brave Generation Academy to say, hey, actually, we were generating the high level to do, but then you guys were saying, oh, we actually need another layer of understanding here to know what's involved with this. What's the considerations we have to take into account for investigating various programming languages? It's a very high level to do, but now we're generating as well with AI subtasks like identifying popular programming languages, researching the pros and cons of different programming languages. And that's what you're saying is like helping to guide the conversation with your learner. And the other big one was a potential integration with its Microsoft suite that you use, right? So it's all very good having the tasks here in ARK and the learner can manage them and the coach can also manage them and see into this. But it would also be great if we could integrate with Microsoft and your planning tools there. So we're exploring that as well out of our collaboration, which has been fun. Awesome. Well, As you can see, the learner now has a project. As they go through it and complete it, this will be a shareable thing that they can have on their public profile. Tiago, is there anything else that you want to add to how coaches can get started with this, or yeah, any other insights that you've gained from working with ARK and learners scoping projects?
Well, the first thing is getting used to work. So after an initial training that we're sharing the experience that we had so far, the idea is to actually explore art on a daily basis and then use it with our learners. The experience that we had is that they they get familiar with the learners get familiar with art, especially when they need to understand concepts. And here, it's not only to how to get to the answer to this quiz or question. It's more about running down or breaking down the process to how they get to an answer or how they make the mistake with that answer and finding the concept that they didn't understand. ARK allows, especially with the button I don't understand, allows them to focus and narrow their need and get to understand the concept that they were missing, so they can fix their understanding and their thought process, so they can improve for the future and actually learn. This forces them to do the research and go over the frustration of dealing with a mistake. That's something that we always need to work on a daily basis too. But besides that, when they get familiar with it and when they start exploring and understand that they can develop the project, they see how easy it is to take that roadmap and actually understanding everything that they need to do. What are steps that they need to, and up to the moment where they need to. So every deadline. So we're fostering an environment where they should develop this self-directed learning, which means understanding completely what's the how to apply the goal setting, and also how to hold themselves accountable. So this is we're talking about young people that are still exploring the world, but they are developing this awareness. They are developing these skills that will be useful for them not only on their road through BTA, but in the future. So it takes a little bit of time, but it's always about exploring, get familiar, and then be an expert in using art.
Awesome. Tiago, thank you so much for joining. And I'll see you next week where we'll talk about the I don't understand command and how this constant process of exploring, expanding into a new project, and then getting frustrated, and then always coming back to another feature within ARC that allows them to resolve that misunderstanding or that frustration they're having with some part of the project. There will always be a feature in ARC that can help them unblock and move to the next stage, along with the help of awesome coaches like Tiago. I think AI pedagogy is going to look really, really good. Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks, Tiago.
Thank you for having me. See you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.